we really need to talk about that live that happened yesterday. We need to talk about it because there's some things that we got to make clear. We got to make some things clear right now. Was it a great live? Bro, without a doubt. Without a doubt, that was such a wonderful live to just tap in and just listen to. First things first, I'm not here.
I got you.
I'm not here to go ahead and start disrespecting nobody. I'm not here to just say, oh.
I got you.
I'm not here to say, oh, dog, what you're saying is not true. It's garbage. It's nonsense. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for that. Let's make that clear right now. That's not what we're here to do. What we're here to do, it's almost like a review / reaction in a sense. Because in this interview, a lot of good things were said, but so much was missed. I want to make that clear right now. So much was missed. So I'm going to do what I do. Again, this is my first time taking notes and making like a little, not necessarily a little script, but just something to just remember what I want to say. This is the first time I'm doing this. Because every other reaction I've done was just from here. Everything was from here. But let's get started. What's poppin', Paul? What's good? Who has a garbage take? Nah, Tiff, that was not the main event. This is the main event. Because remember, I told y'all that we're going to go over the David Banner interview. But then I watched this. And I said, I got to put that David Banner interview to the side. We can revisit that at any time. Because that interview's already been passed and gone now. But this one right here, nah. We're taking this one seriously. So let me go ahead, give it about like 10 minutes. What's poppin', TW? He's very intelligent. No. Yo, TW, you're absolutely right. He's very intelligent, but we got to make something clear right now. The issue with looking at Canada, and I'm going to start with this before we go ahead and get into this. Actually, you know what? Let me hit the record button. Now I have issues with the record button on Streamlabs because sometimes it wants to stop by itself, and I don't like that. So let's go ahead. We're recording currently. We are here. We're checking out Curtis King TV. Curtis with 2 S's, by the way. So he did a live yesterday with Jeremy. One of the freshest voices in hip-hop media. Valid, very valid. He's been around for a while. You know? He's been around for a long time. He's done a lot of work. Being Canadian born and all that, but brother, when it comes, okay, let me start with this point. What we need to do for Canadians that want to represent Canada, we understand that our diversity is our selling point, but the one thing about that, the one problem about that is that we always get lost in it. Anytime we speak about diversity, we get lost in it before we can actually make a good point that would resonate with everybody. And the point that I want to make is that we need to make this clear right now. We understand that there is very strong and high diversity in Canada. It's no doubt about it. I've already explained that there's so many different cultures flying into Canada to live here. And they're all bringing their own culture, making their own large or small communities, however you want to put it. But let's make this clear right now. Don't get lost in it. Because all this still comes down to is your artistry, your talent, and your media presence if we're going to be talking about Canadian artists. So I want to start with that before we get into this. You know? Diversity and inclusivity is absolutely important. I want to make it clear. But Canada's biggest problem is that it's almost like we don't know how to expand past it. Like that's all we're relying on. Which is technically true, because realistically speaking, Canada doesn't really have a real culture if you're going to lead with diversity. Diversity is not culture. Let's make that clear right now. Exactly. There's no identity. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's get started with this. Quick intro. You know what we got to do. So let's go ahead and start with that. Let's go. Yo, Yo, right here. Right here in the small box. Right here in the small box. Welcome back to Single Seated Reactions, only on the Flex My Network. I'm Flex. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the reaction. We're currently live right now, doing a little recording segment right here. Shout out to the live chat up above. I appreciate everybody that's in the live chat. No doubt. Look, we're going to go ahead. We're going to go straight into this. Okay? Let's not waste no more time, because y'all know I got a lot of talking that I got to do. The notes I was taking yesterday is making it clear. So, first we're just going to sit back. I'm not starting it from the beginning, because the beginning was like, it's more of a build-up, letting you know who he is and all that jazz. So, let's just go ahead. Let's dive into the meat and potatoes. Let's go.
Or some, because what it was I think a new generation of artists taking back the power into their own hands from labels to a degree, but also just like there was no timeline. They were putting out mixtapes. This kick.
It's interesting when you see. Hey, TW, I hear you, bro. Listen, TW, I hear you. Hold on, I hear you, dude. No cap, I hear you, no doubt. Because it's almost like when it comes down to what you're saying, like it sounds like the Bay Area over here. It's a crab in a bucket mentality. Very little unity. It's beginning to change now, though, because y'all have the direction now. You notice how it takes a great to make a change? Y'all notice that? It takes a great to make a change. Apply that to Canada now. We have a great. What is he doing? What has he done? Look at y'all leader for California, for LA, however you want to look at it. And then look at our leader. Someone's going to have to tell the truth right now. It takes a leader to make a change. You didn't go through all the trials and tribulations in your music career as an artist to be here today and move like that. What was all of it for? Regardless if you believe it or not, once you put yourself in position, whether you like it or not, you're the leader. Sorry, you gotta lead. You gotta lead us. You're leading yourself. Who's gonna tell the truth? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna tell the truth around here? Let's stop sugarcoating. Let's stop. Why are we so afraid to address the problem? That's my question. Why are we so afraid to address the problem? That's my question. We have multiple sources of different problems all over the place, and we can't even start with one. What are we doing here? Don't kill me, Tiny. All right, let's keep going because we got a lot of video to get through. Paul, I'm glad you said that. Paul, listen, Paul, I'm so glad you said that. Funny enough, though, I have, and I'm going to count them out. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I had a 25th that I was going to write down, but I forgot who to write. But I have about 25 different artists that I written down that I have on my other playlists on Spotify. 25 different prominent artists written down here. And not a soul will know about these niggas. This is what I'm... Okay, one thing about this channel is that I always talk about the gatekeeping, but I never really talk about who's being gatekept. And for me to just go through my playlist and find about 25 different artists that can really do some damage in the music industry, and nobody really knows about them. We have a problem here. We have a big problem here, and nobody wants to admit it because we're so like it's almost like the medieval times. Like you got to bend the knee, like what Party Next Door was talking about with John River. I think that was the last person I was going to write down. John River. John River's not on this right here yet. He's not on there. So 25 different artists. Because the gates are closed. Remember, I talk about this all the time. The gates are closed. There's too much gatekeeping happening in the city, and they're pushing the wrong people. The wrong people have what's it called? The spotlight. And a point that I made outside the stream was how to adjust the spotlight. How to adjust the spotlight. So that literally thought of, all right, let's keep going. I'm telling y'all, this is the one right here. I'm not playing games today. I'm not playing games.
Blog, yeah. My cat. Kit. K-I-T Cuddy. Yeah. He always comes onto the stream. Kit, say hi. But yeah, no. So I think the blog era was that, but it was also a shift in music, and you always see these full cycle shifts, right?
That's
where it's
true.
Like,
it's very true. She knows.
There's the snap rap era of like hits right before that, and you had a lot of people,
Oh, brother.
Oh, I think you muted up.
This man's going through what I'm going through right now.
There we go. Kid didn't want. He's like, it's all about But no, so I mean, in the early 2000s, right, you had a lot of one-hit wonders, you had a lot of snap rap, you had a lot of people like coming in and out, but no one was really making a real impact. Then you did have a little bit of a shift, right? You had Kanye that was kind of like the poster boy for, making this new era of, meaningful rap and backpack rap to a degree. Then you had after Ye, there was still like kind of this period of like in between of like, all right, what's next? Like, who is the next generation? And I think all of those people really took it and ran with it. Like Drake and Kendrick and Cole. The reason why they're still the biggest artists in the world is because of the connection they made. Like I was watching at Greenville Festival, and I had almost forgot what an emotional connection I felt like I had to J. Cole until he's performing songs from 15 years ago, and I remember where I was. I remember hearing Lights Please and being like, wow, I've never heard anyone put this into a song before. And so that whole era, and even like recently, a few years ago, I got to produce a documentary for Wiz, and it was about his debut album. And to him about it, like hearing their perspective, like even he was saying how special that time period was, and they didn't really realize it until he always says like, I didn't realize how much incredible shit we were doing until I look back, and I'm like, damn, we really did some incredible shit. Like we really did.
That's the power of music, man. I was gonna say just in case, could you double check the mic, because I think we might be getting room audio, or like the microphone off the laptop. It changed up a little bit, just in case. But I'll tell you a quick story. It's funny that when you're mentioning J. Cole, I just talked to somebody about this today. But the first time I even heard the name J. Cole in terms of just someone having a genuine interest, just so happened to be with Kendrick and Dave Free in LA at a.
I want y'all to understand. Y'all see Raw Talent in the chat, bro? If you also want boots on the ground, Raw Talent is another dude in Canada as well that a lot of people should tap in with as well. I'm not even going to lie to you. A lot of people should be tapping in with him. You notice how me and him are literally on the same page? There's so much more of us out there that are saying this, but we're literally all at the bottom. There's some gatekeeping going on in Canada that is crippling the country, and it needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed, but nobody wants to talk about it. Why? Why are we so afraid to talk about it? Why are we so comfortable in the space that we are in, knowing that the space that we are in is not even substantial? It's not working. It's really not working. There's a huge problem, and nobody wants to say anything. Listen, look, I can talk all day. Like what Anthony said, like, yo, I'm a yapaholic. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let's keep going.
A sneakers place called Riff LA. And I remember him casually saying this. And in the moment, I had no idea that it would be the kind of story that I'm sharing today. But he very casually said, yo, Kurt, you ever heard of J. Cole? And the song is playing. It might have been Lights, Please in the background. I'm like, it has such a movie moment to it. But I didn't recognize it in the moment. He's like, you ever listen to J. Cole? And I'm like, nah, like, I mostly listen to West Coast and all that. And he's just like, yeah, he's dope. And just goes back to looking at the Jordans in front of him. This is like the Michael Jordan era where he's doing the song Michael Jordan. And it just like casually takes on. And I'm like, these are the things that I think back when I hear a song, it immediately brings me back to a moment like that. Or you see someone run through the catalog. But see, that's why, Jeremy, it breaks my ever-loving damn heart to see this version of Kanye. You just mentioned a few Kanye projects. And I think there's some people, it's funny, who's I talking to? I was talking to my guy, Deleted. Shout out to Deleted. I was talking to him today. And we were having a discussion about just his, he's still a big fan of him, but he's like, it's getting hard to defend him. My thing is, I have so much passion when I speak, in opposition of the things that he says, because I just felt like, damn it, you had me here, bro. I was locked in. The things that you were saying on that first album, the things that I heard on I Wonder, I was like, yo, you are saying the thing. And
Kanye is a lost cause. I think I already explained my point about Kanye, but just a quick summary. I thought Kanye was really locked in with the Donda album. I remember I spoke about this, me listening to Jesus Lord. Something about Jesus Lord just lit a fire in me. Thank you for your subscription. I'm on Steam Lab so I can see who just subscribed. Shout out to Patrice L. I'm back here. See, one thing about Streamlabs that I like is that when you guys subscribe, when you guys donate, I can literally see it right there on Streamlabs. But shout out to Patrice. Appreciate you. Let's keep going.
And I believe...
But wait, no, I was explaining. Jesus Lord, something about that song lit a fire in me. Whether if you want to listen to the outro or not, there's something about that song that lit a fire in me that I thought Kanye was going to make a change. And then when he went back to what he usually do, I said, that's it. It's done. Let's keep going, though.
You understand my story. And then to see the last X amount of years where he'll go on Drink Champs and say, yeah, I was just doing that just to get on. I really wasn't a backpacker at all. I didn't really want to do songs with Talib. And it's just like, God, why are you taking that part away? How have you been kind of making sense? And I know you guys have talked about this at length on the bigger picture, but like, how have you been kind of like grappling with
That's
that?
true, Raw Talib.
Well, it's funny because I think where I'm at right now is I only am able to be extremely disappointed with somebody that I truly care about. Like, if I feel like I have a true connection to you, then I'm able to be disappointed. If not, I could care less. Like, for example, if it's like, there's people will mention other people that have done other things in music. Like, I don't have an expectation of Future. Like, I like Future songs, but I have no expectation of him as a man. Like, I didn't have an emotional connection to him. Like, I have no expectation of Playboi Carti. Like, I literally could care less just because I have not connected. Now, that's not to say if they do heinous things that they shouldn't be critiqued or that they shouldn't be, called out for it. That's just an aside. A Kanye or a Drake, and I'm not putting them on the same level at all, but I'm just saying I'm able to be people say I'm like the biggest Drake hater. I'm actually one of the biggest Drake fans you probably know. The only reason I'm so harshly critical of a lot of his moves post-battle is because I'm disappointed because I was such a fan for so long. Like Kanye, the same reason with him. The reason why
That's why I'm here. That point is why I'm here today. I'm glad somebody said it, but that disappointment just far exceeds what you do outside the battle. See, I'm pretty sure Jeremy is industry. So, when in the industry, there's just some things you just cannot say, which is unfortunate, but when you're in that space, when you're in that realm, there's just some rules you gotta follow. Here, We ain't part of that shit. We're not part of no damn industry. So we can cut all that shit out. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We telling the truth around this bitch. Okay? Me and Raw Talent be telling the truth. He gonna be in the chat letting y'all know. I'm right here in y'all face telling y'all what's good for real. Someone's gonna have to say something. We've been going on for too long just sitting on the sidelines just watching the party die, literally. The party's been dying here. It's been dying for years. Let's keep going.
Able to be like, this hurts me, is because I was so deeply invested, and I was one of those guys who was defending till the end. You know, like, I've taken breaks. I say I'm in an abusive relationship because I took breaks and I'm like, I'm done. You know, after slavery was a choice, I'm done. I'm not listening to any of those albums. I didn't listen to Ye. I didn't listen to, I think maybe I listened to Kids See Ghosts, but I felt guilty about it. Then you know, I was like, I'm done. Right. And then a couple years went by and then I was like,
but I want him to speak the whole truth and just nothing but the truth. You're getting a different side of the truth on the Flex Your Mind Network. And what I have written down here, we're going to get through that. Don't worry.
Like, oh, this Ghost Town song is pretty good. And then I was like, you know what? Like, let me give him a chance. Donda, okay, he's not talking. All right, he's not saying anything crazy. He seems like he's back. And then here we go again, you know? The rug is pulled. And so I haven't personally listened to Bully. I have no interest in it. I haven't followed him. I haven't reacted to anything he said. I think he's one of those guys who he'll show you his cards every time. And I think he's clearly showed he's jealous. He's a hater. And when somebody else is taking his entitled spotlight that he feels like should always be his no matter what,
right?
He doesn't know how to handle it. When Kendrick is having a moment, he's like, oh, I'm going to just throw random shots. And then you see him literally tell you 2 months later, I'm jealous of Kendrick, you know? And so it's like, oh, I want to, like, even his feud with Drake all stemmed from, yes, some of it is his, like, competitive spirit. A lot of it was jealousy. And so if you're going to be that guy that always wants attention and you need that to thrive, I feel like giving you more of my attention, at least with my platform, isn't necessary. So I personally stop.
I hear you. And man, I see that whenever you're having like your criticisms of Drake. I never see it for whatever reason, whatever glasses that some folks who are super fans of his that they're reading with me and they're like, oh, you're just a hater. I'm like, you can see the difference between my criticism and a Jeremy's. I look at Jeremy and I'm like, I look in your eyes and I'm like, you got that look like, why are you doing it again? You're supposed to be rapping. Why are you doing it again? And that's the thing is, what you're expressing there is what I've expressed of Kanye. And at some point, I just said, okay, it's not for me. I want to get into a few of those questions because I still want to make sure that we focus this back on the work that you do. But I know these folks want to know some of these things. You've shared criticism of Drake before.
Here we go. This is the main event right here. This right here is the main event. So let's have some fun with it. Let's go.
As a fellow Canadian, do you feel like you have a unique lens into the things that are going on with him?
I wouldn't necessarily say because I'm Canadian, but I do say because I'm a big Drake fan. Like, because I've studied these people and because I've been documenting Kendrick and Drake's subliminal battle for years. Like, on my TikTok, like 5 years, I've posted like million view videos of Drake and Kendrick's subliminal war. So just because I feel like I've studied, like I had a password on one of my computers that had OVO and TDE in it. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like this battle was the culmination of a lot of what I've spent a lot of time and energy, and I'm glad it paid off because I could have just been wasting my time. So I'm glad it actually, worked out. But in terms of being a fan and really thinking I understand their discography and their journeys a little bit, I think that gives me a unique lens. But I also think there's some degree of like being, a white Jewish guy in Canada is a little bit closer maybe than being in America to some degree, because what I do understand of Drake's journey is you still have to go to America to make it. You know, a lot of people see it as like there's this. Why don't you?
Let's stop there for a second. What he's saying is true. You still have to go to America to make it. But here's my question now, being in Canada. Why haven't we created a bridge where the same way how it happens in America, it can happen here in Canada too? We've been around for this, for how many years now? For many years on end. Why isn't there some sort of gateway? Why isn't there some sort of bridge? Why isn't there some sort of pathway? Hell, why is there some sort of underground railroad where you can bridge that gap and get popping either here or there? Why is it that we have to migrate ourselves over to America to make it work? We've been around for long enough. We have the producers. We have the ability to make it happen, but we haven't chosen to actually figure out a way to start that process. Yo, we have the power to do it, but we're not using our own power. What are we doing? Shouldn't be like that. Do it from where you at, for real. And Drake said that. But this is what I'm saying when I was speaking about leaders. He was supposed to be the motherfucker to do it. he was supposed to be the motherfucker to do it. This nigga ain't do shit. This nigga left us. What are we talking? Yo, what are we doing? Dog, that's what I'm saying. We're after 20 years, my nigga. Tiff, by the way, thank you for that. Thank you for cutting him out. All right, Natasha, good night. Take care. You know, I hope you get some good night's sleep. Have some wonderful dreams, sweet dreams type shit. I hope you wake up with some positive energy and the sunlight hitting your face. All right, take care. Canadian labels have to scout talent here in America and showing artists can blow up in the world by the way of Canada. Yo, I agree. I agree that that's what they have to do, right? Because that's actually one way of making it happen. You're still a Nelly Furtado fan? Oh my gosh. But but here's the thing though. Because, and this is me speaking towards Canadian pride. Let me speak towards the Canadian pride. Because we're so prideful here. Canadians are not going to go to America to figure that out. But that's what we're supposed to do. We have to, it's almost like we have to be the A&Rs and go do that research. Go, if you have to go fly out somewhere, you got to fly out somewhere. You hear somebody that's on the up and coming. Hey, tell them, look, we got a place for you in Canada here where we can make you popping for real. You know? We'll put you here. We'll put you in position to win. We'll make it happen. We'll make sure that Canada will know your name. So you would have a substantial fan base. Because one thing about Canada is that we are definitely prideful and we will definitely, we're bandwagoners. No ifs, ands, or buts. Whatever happens in this city, yo, everybody's going to hop on the wave and say, yo, that's what's up. They got that love in their heart in Toronto. You know? It's the same thing when Kawhi Leonard came here. Everybody immediately hopped on the wave. We're good at doing that. But if you notice that we're doing it for the wrong people, look how much we crumble. You know? That's true again. Ace, you're right again. We were critical of E40, Sick With It Records for a while too. Up until Empire became an independent footprint. Home base is here. That's what I'm talking about, bro. No cap. But this is the kind of work that we got to do. This is definitely the kind of work that we got to do so we can actually make some substantial moves. We're making some strides, you know? And I'm going to get to those strides when we talk about these artists. But the strides are not enough. You got to make some substantial movements. To this day, we still don't really have a base. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a foundation here. We don't really have it. That's one of our biggest problems. Everybody, like, remember what I was saying yesterday? You have all these different individuals in different places, in different corners of Canada, but nobody's really coming together to make something substantial, and that's a problem. To this day, we don't really have a proper base. That's a huge problem. How do we solve for X? Still, like, come on, we gotta solve this equation before we continue down the line of equations that we gotta solve. And that's true, Raw Talent, but where's our platforms? That's a problem. Let's keep going, though. We're just getting started.
You just stick in Canada. Why are you coming here? There is a degree of a ceiling, and Drake broke open that glass ceiling a little bit but he came to Canada. He came to America to make that. And I'm not talking about like running to Atlanta. This is not a cultural divide. I'm literally just talking about, like, you know, he met Lil Wayne, he met Jay Prince. He broke through BET with the video with Trey Songz. And so he paid for, that was my first ever video for Hip Hop DX that I wrote. It was a $20,000 feature. He paid Trey Songz, and that broke.
Y'all need to understand why I'm critical of Drake. And it might seem like hate, but someone needs to sit this man down and tell him what he needs to do at this point in his life. All that trolling you're doing, you're killing your own brand. Stop trolling. Someone, I don't know, a big homie, an OG, someone go tell 50 Cent, sit this nigga down and tell him to stop trolling. You got a job to do now, bruh. I understand, like, no, maybe you don't want to do it. But what was all those years of doing this is for? Unfortunately, I'm sorry that you have to hear it. You gotta lead. And if you're gonna do it, you gotta make sure that you do it for real. Look, when he went and got 4 bats, I was expecting a couple projects coming for 4 bats that was gonna shake up the city. I thought I was gonna see 4 bats all over the city, bruh. I thought I was gonna see that. That never happened. None of that happened. I'm sitting there, I'm just, what's going on? What happened to 4 bats? This man just disappeared. Made no sense to me. Beth, I see you, Beth. Don't worry. But Tiff, that's how it is. Like, look at Raw Talent's comment. Once you wear the captaincy with all the Infinity Stones, you have all the control. It's true. It's really true. It's almost like a hierarchy in the music industry here. Once you're in the top position, people are going to come to you. I just don't like the gatekeeping. That's it. Everybody has a position. You can put all these different individuals in positions to win. And there you go. TW said it. OVO could have been the Cash Money. OVO could have had the potential to be a mixture of different labels in one. You remember how I was speaking towards the diversity and having all these different cultures come here? That's the formula. That's the formula. You could have made a label similar to that, where you have different houses together under this one label. And that could have been OVO. Let's keep going. There's a lot.
In America on BET, which caught Jazz Prince's attention, which ended up ultimately leading to him signing to Lil Wayne. So I think seeing that lens, A, was like, okay, I understand. But B, I don't really like that it was made into like a Canada versus America thing. I just...
It was Canada versus America based on the eyes of Canadians. I had the original thought, But as I hear and see more and more Canadians, or sorry, more and more Americans in this live and any other live that I watch that have thousands of people watching, and I see them saying, bro, Americans are still cool with Canadians. I sat back and I said, so it was the Canadians this whole time. It was the Canadians this whole time. The Canadians are the ones that are making it Canada versus America. You see what I was talking about with the Canadian pride? You see how when you're too prideful, it turns into naivety? And I spoke droves on the naivety in Canada. But you see how it turns? You see the process of the shift? That's one of our biggest problems. We don't know how to put that pride to the side for real. And that's a big issue. That is a very big issue. But let's keep going because we still got to get to the first point that I wrote down.
Never saw it. I never took it that way. Like I never took it in a way where Not Like Us was
exactly. I
against me simply because I'm Canadian or simply because I'm Jewish or simply because like I'm white. It wasn't any of those things. It was just a cultural understanding. And it was disappointing because I actually do feel like Drake could have.
You're damn right, Ace. You're damn right. And Tiny's up to something right there too. Yeah, damn. Hey, Raw Talent gonna let you know.
Like he could have walked away from this on so many occasions in a better situation than he came out. Like I really, that's why it was so like, damn, like this is really how this went down. It was tough.
I'll tell you, between yourself, between a lot of the new content creators that I admittedly was not as privy to before this battle. It's super dope to see so many fresh perspectives come out of Canada where they're saying like, in the same way that somebody, I remember the first time I met somebody from New York, I was on a cruise with my family and he was like, you say you from the West Coast, B? I said, yeah. He said, y'all probably be having barbecues every day, huh? I'm like, there's more life that goes on except for what you see in a Dr. Dre video. You know that, right? You know we're not in 1993 right now, right? You know it's like, but his picture was so obstructed by, just the imagery he sees. And so I think for a lot of people, the same thing might have existed for their limited knowledge of all the different cultures that exist in Canada. I've gotten so many DMs from, different sections that are telling me like, this is this and this is that. I'm curious though, because you do so much for so many different communities, especially independent artists. Do you think Canada's hip hop identity is still evolving, or do you think this is a window where it's finally owning its voice?
I think it's definitely evolving. I would say shout out to there's a company called Beat Cave in Canada that we do events with through Something Dope, and we did a show with them in Toronto. We did a showcase Pass the Aux event in LA where independent artists from Toronto and LA both played music back to back, and I brought my guy Ant Clemens to help give feedback. And so it was super dope. Like that was like more of like a bridging the gap. Like now you have a pathway to LA, and LA people have a pathway to Toronto. But when I say that the music that I heard from the 6 or 7 artists that I listened to was so diverse, like so diverse. Like there was a producer who played a beat that someone was singing over. It's like, this is crazy house music that could be like a hip hop trap influence. Like it was just all types of music. I will say, like when people talk about the Toronto sound, like if you look at The Weeknd and Party and Drake, like they did have a similar sound for a while because of the fact that it's so cold there. Like I think you get that. Like you
do not let the mood and the freezing temperature dictate how we sound. No, no, man. This is where I started to take notes, my nigga. This is where I started to take the notes. Oh my gosh, my first note was speaking about the diversity that he was mentioning. Let's get into Canadian hip hop first. Is it evolving? Let me tell y'all something. Right now. We got to be careful how we throw around hip-hop in Canada. We got to be very careful how we throw out that word hip-hop in Canada. Let's start there first. Let's start right there first. Because here's the thing now. Remember how I was speaking about all the different cultures and all the different people coming here? To be honest, that might be the theme for this whole recording. Just the melting pot or the mixture of multiple and numerous cultures within Canada. Take that same concept and apply it to music. Instead of saying you have different cultures, now you're saying you have different genres. There's different genres of rap, hip hop, however you want to put it, here. We have MCs. We have the rappers. We have the trappers. We have technically drill artists. We have the house music artists. We have that, but this is where you have to be careful of how you throw around that word hip hop. You just gotta be mindful now at this point. I could get into my list of artists right here, right now. But before we even get into that, we gotta make sure that we have to be careful about how we throw around these different words that we use in our everyday lives. Because how you put that word out is gonna dictate how people see us. So you have to be careful about your presentation. Not just the representation, but also your presentation. Because you want to make sure that when people come here, when people come into this lane, come to this avenue, and they want to hear something, you got to make sure that you're going to present these individuals in a way where the world can understand. You know? Nokia is not house music. No, I ain't gonna lie to you. I've heard house music. And listen, for someone that someone that listens to house as well, dance the dance style of house. Nokia is not house music, bro. Cardinal Official and Mitchie Me. Don't forget about Mitchie Me too. She was technically before Cardinal Official. Mitchie Me had like what, over 3 decades of being in the music industry in Canada alone. I don't know if anybody really took in her project that she dropped in 2020. Boy. This is what I'm talking about. Absolute legend. Raw talent knows. But look, Cardinal Official too. I don't know. Oh man, y'all, the researching y'all gotta do. It's vast. It's so vast. There's so much here. But because of the people that are at the top, I hate the fact that I always have to bring it back to Drake. But like I was saying before, whether you like it or not, you're the face, you're the leader now. Oh man, what do we do? But like, there's so much going on at the bottom or in the underground. Nobody's really gonna know. We can also tackle what is Toronto sound. In all honesty, Toronto ain't got no sound. We just have a lot of different artists that are going to be in your genres. Ooh, hey, Brawtown, I see you. That's a big one right there too, man. That's what I'm talking about. There's so much. But speaking towards the Toronto sound now, we don't necessarily have a sound because of the lack of culture. But we are going to be in your genres. The thing is that Canadians need to understand, and I spoke about this before, since you're going to be in their genres, you're going to be in that competition now. Just because you're here and your music is charting and going crazy in Canada doesn't mean it's going to be better than what is being produced in America. We need to make our music with Americans in mind. It's friendly competition. This is all for the sake of making music. So this should be for the sake of making friendly competition. And I'm going to speak about friendly competition later because I have a marketing idea of how to take some individuals from the underground and kind of put them into the spotlight with everybody else. But I'm going to speak to that later. So I kind of tackled this one. And then I kind of tackled this one. I want to speak about what I started the stream with, which is don't mistake diversity for an evolution. Do not do that. Because you're going to get confused. You're not only going to get confused, but anybody that views your platform is going to get confused as well. This is what I'm talking about. We have to make sure every statement that we make, everybody can understand what we're talking about. Because the thing about us is that, yeah, diversity is important. Diversity this, diversity that, diversity here, diversity there. That's cool. That's great. But what about you, my nigga? What about you? Diversity is not the brand. It's almost like an aspect or a theme. We're here for the brand. What are you? You know? So diversity is important, but it's not always good to lead with it. Maybe in a general presentation, if you want to present it to people that just don't understand, that's cool. But even then, I wouldn't want people to start there. Man, I can go on for hours. I ain't gonna lie to you. I can go on for hours for real. This is not an easy thing to do. This is not an easy thing to do. I don't even know if the 3 hours that I'm giving this right now is enough. But I'm gonna try my best. But boy, there's a lot. Let me just say this though. There's a lot of ears and a lot of eyes watching us. We need to make our message way more clear than what it is right now. I can just end there so we can keep going with this, because trust and believe me, man. Trust and believe me. This is a long, like, this could be like a 2-hour presentation.
You do get that like sense of eeriness, and like even like the stripped down production of a 40 feels like. I lived in Toronto for a summer. Even like a lot of the Drake Views album, like you feel Toronto sound. So I do think that there is a sound to a degree, and maybe it was caused by those artists. But I think there's a lot of diversity. Like there's a lot. Canada is a massive place. Like it is a bigger place. There's more people in California than there are in Canada, I believe, if not like very like 1-to-1. It's like very close. So just think about the density. But Canada itself is bigger than America. So the amount, and someone can fact check me on, someone might be like, no, that's wrong. But in terms of like, so there's way less people, but it's also so diverse in terms of like what each landscape is like. So I'm actually looking forward to more Canadian artists breaking through, and hopefully it helps put a shine. One of my goals this year is to help put a light on more Toronto, more Canadian artists. So if there are.
Well, I got a list of about 25 different people that you can start from, but let's keep going. TW says Division, Production, and Mega Man is how I hear Toronto sound. That's it though, being a novice. Hey, as long as, look, see, I'm glad you said Division, because now you put yourself in a really good lane. Because Division is a very phenomenal artist. You're in a really good lane if you're starting with Division. So when you branch out from there into other R&B acts in Canada with Division as your top, what you're going to find is going to be substantial. And I'm glad that you found that. I'm glad that you found that for real.
Independent artists from Canada, I would love to spotlight them.
Last Canadian-based question. Do you like poutine?
Listen, you could pay for a streaming app and a music app, or just get YouTube serious. Premium for $12.99.
Not serious.
Not
serious. So at that point, when they had that little segment for Canada, that's when my brain started to turn. The gears in my brain started to go crazy at this point. So, I already spoke on that. I spoke on that. I kind of spoke on the Canadian diversity. I kind of spoke on why it's a problem, but just to like kind of expand on that is, where's the direction when you speak about the diversity in Canada? If you're going to speak about it, it's fine, but you also have to direct it to a point. It's almost like when you make that bubble chart or like the cloud chart with the different points coming out of the cloud. Diversity should not be in the middle. If you're making that chart, you create the bubble and you write diversity, it should not be in the middle. It should be a point. It shouldn't be the answer though. That's the thing. So from what he's saying, he's making diversity the point. Did I say that right? Yeah, I think I said that right. You're putting diversity in the middle basically, but that's not supposed to be the answer. I think that's how it's supposed to. When I say my brain, bro, my brain is just everywhere right now. But what I'm just trying to say is that diversity should be a point on this chart. So say you make a bubble and you have all these different points on the bubble. All I'm saying is, I hope you can see. Hold on. Diversity should not be in the middle of the cloud chart. Diversity should not be here. Diversity should be a point. Diversity should be a point. It should not be in the middle of your overall answer, because now we get confused. Because if this is all we got to show, that only means we don't have much to show. And that's not true. So I just hope I just nailed that out correctly. Now one point that I made is, can Canadian artists really break through? Currently, right now, in this day and age, no. Now, let me go ahead and start listing the different artists that I have written down here from my playlists that I just casually listen to every now and then. So let's start from the top. Let's start from the top. So, first, we have A.R. Paisley. Let's start with A.R. Paisley first. Rapper. Brown. He's actually an Indian rapper, but like, very, very good. I ain't gonna lie to you. Everybody that I'm listing here is definitely worth listening to. Now, it's gonna take a different headspace for some of these individuals, but trust me, everybody on this list, there's a reason why they're on this list. So, A.R. Paisley is first. Then we got Division. Of course, we already spoke about Division. After Division, we got 88 Glam. The thing about 88 Glam is that I need them to fully understand their genre that they immerse themselves in. There's a lot of creativity within the space that they're in, because they kind of sound like it's a duo. 88 Glam is a duo, but they kind of sound like if you take Travis Scott and you split him into two people, that's pretty much 88 Glam, if we're going to be super honest. So, unfortunately, I got to give out an RIP, but Houdini. I doubt any of y'all are going to know about Houdini. I'm watching my time. I am definitely watching my time. I still have about 1 hour left, Tiff, but thank you for the reminder. I appreciate you. So, unfortunately, RIP to Houdini, but Houdini was definitely substantial in the city. But he was making music not just for in the city. He had hits and tracks that could extend past the city. A lot of people were saying at the time, Houdini was supposed to be the one that was going to make it out the city before Pressa. If you don't know who Pressa is, just remember, Coi Leray dated someone way back when. And a lot of people were saying they look like brother and sister. Coi Leray dated Pressa when she was first coming up. It was almost like a marketing ploy. Because it really put her on the map. And they gave her the hits to be the kind of person that she is today. So, marketing is evil, but it can work. But anyway, let's keep going. Now we're moving on to the kind of Toronto rap I'm not super duper a fan of, but this artist can work. And his name is Pengs. What's poppin', Slay? How you doing? I'm watching No Time. Oh, no, I'm not watching the full... No, Anthony, I'm not watching the full live. I'm not watching the full live. I'm just dealing with this segment right here. Don't worry. Don't worry. So next we got Pengs. Cielino Cleveland. Griselda Blanco. Man, that track is hard. That track, actually, you can kind of... Actually, you know what? Because this isn't really monetized, we got a little bit of freedom. Griselda Blanco. I think this song, if we want to say what the Toronto anthem is, Griselda Blanco is that song. So let's go ahead. We'll play a little bit of it. We'll play a little bit. I'm not playing the whole song, but this...
We are the dogs.
This is...
More real. Free chaotic, free smalls.
This is an anthem.
Bad bitches gon' strip. Dope boys gon' trap to this. Keep an eye, I don't lack to this. Somebody might get slapped to this. They know the real. Free the dogs and the demons. Take a trip to the east end. CLE, not Cleveland. Top goons, they my road dogs. My young boys made the place hot. Never rate a right niggas hug a Presidente face shot. She making bands on a long pole. She bad, she Griselda Blanco. She up, she Griselda Blanco. She bad, she...
Alright, that's enough. That's enough. But I gotta add Pengs to the list, cause I ain't gonna lie. He got some tracks. Pengs got some tracks. So after Pengs, we got Loco City. He's nice. The Loco City's nice too. I have some of his songs on my Spotify, but he's also nice as well. But now this is where the list is going to get interesting. So, we have a lady artist, and her name is Tome. I believe, if I'm correct, she has African roots. She has an African background. But it's almost like a blend between Afro beats and R&B, but it's housed here in Canada. So, trust me, Tome, you got to add that to your list. I feel like what I need to do is that I need to give y'all a list. And for every person that I have on the list, I can give y'all a link to one of their songs on YouTube. I feel like that could really help. Because right now, I'm just trying to go through the list, to be honest. So... well, that sounds like a Mo3 beat. But Tiff, that's what I'm talking about. We don't really have a sound, but we're going to be in y'all genres. That's the point I'm making right there. So Canadians need to understand, since you're immersing yourselves in these genres, you need to plan and create your music like you're going to be the top charting in this genre. So it's going to take a lot more work and a stronger work ethic to really make that happen. That's what I'm talking about, though. Now we're going to get into the next artist. And to be honest, this artist that I'm about to say, this one, out of everybody that's on this list, he's my favorite. Because he has range. And his name is Forever Friday. Forever Friday is out on the West Coast, on the west side of Canada. He has rap tracks. He has house tracks. He's blended them both. And they all sound good. Forever Friday needs to be on y'all list. Haley Smalls is one of her favorites too. If you got R&B on this list, she's been dope. That's actually very valid too. I seen you talk about it earlier. Don't worry, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention, but there's just so much. So next we have an up and coming artist actually, but this dude is actually putting in the work for real. And I spoke about him before on the channel. Actually, I have a reaction to one of his songs. His song is called Blink, and this song is by Siddhartha. Siddhartha is another major artist y'all need to tap in with. The reason why I'm putting him on this list though is because I'm not only familiar with the music, I'm also familiar with the person, because we both come from a dance background. He's mainly pop. He's a popper, okay? For the street dance style, he's a popper. His pops, dangerous. He's not to be played with. He's that guy. But he's on this list because he's putting in the work. His song Blink that he put out. He recently put out a house track that he rapped over. Man, that shit was fire. That shit was real fire, no cap. So, I want to make sure that he makes that list as well. Okay, before I get into these two, there's some familiar names on here that we got to deal with. So let's say it like this. We got Preem, we got Dax, and we got Nav. We got Preem, Dax, and Nav. Those are all Canadian artists. Thing is though that they're all seasoned. They've all been around. Dax has been around. Dax is just doing his own thing, to be honest, at this point. Nav, we already know about Nav. Nav is just, he's up there. But the funny thing about Nav is that a lot of Canadians don't like Nav. And I don't get why. I understand that he kind of sounds lazy. But y'all need to also understand that's just how he raps in general. And he's made it work for himself, for his career. But there's still a lot of people in Canada that still dog on him, that make fun of him. And I don't understand why. He's one of y'all greats, but y'all making fun of your greats? That's why he don't mess with Canadians for real. It's just so confusing. You don't have a Tuesday lurking? He's getting crucified out here. Don't kill me. But yeah, like, it's just, I don't understand the Dax. I don't understand the Nav hate. Now, after those three, I want to say Roy Woods. So, Roy Woods and A.R. Paisley, they both each put out an EP that nobody has really talked about. Especially Roy Woods. I'm pretty sure I previewed some of the songs on the Roy Woods EP earlier on this channel. The standout from that EP is Solo. EP, album, either or. It's a toss-up for me. But that project, Solo on that project, I'm pretty sure I played it before. But if anything, I can make it fly again. Roy Woods, Solo. Let's make this go off for a little bit. Because we gotta let people know what's going on.
She got me up, hold me down, she know what's up. Every time she got love, you can't find. I need it all, right now, body and soul. All mine, nobody better know I'm fine. I love your body, in designer, she keep me up. Now I'm finna turn up the shawty. She a good girl, but me, she get naughty. Doing it after the body. You can get nasty as fuck if you want her. She say it's nothing about her. Shawty turn it to the left of the body. They want ain't nothing about it. They want ain't nothing about your body.
Alright, enough of that. But you see what I'm talking about, bro? You see what I'm talking about for real? So I don't need to say too much about Roy Woods. I don't need to say too much about Nav, Dax, Preem. None of them. Next, I want to get into another female artist, a female rap artist. Her name is Havana Mighty. Now, if you want a powerhouse, if you want a female powerhouse, oh my goodness. Oh, Nav is easily more popular in Europe. Because here's the thing about Canada. It's like for Canada, you got to fit a certain box for us to like you. And I don't think Nav really fits that box. Chantel May. Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I know, brother. Bro, anybody that's under OVO is all suffering because nobody knows about them. And think about it. Drake has the younger generation in his bag right now. But he's not utilizing them properly. He's only telling the younger generation, yo, look, I'm right here. Yo, literally right here. That's what Drake's doing, bro. Like, come on. Wake up. But Havana Mighty. Havana Mighty is another dangerous powerhouse in Toronto that more people need to know about. Problem is, no one's looking for real. Okay, I was thinking about it, but I know for a fact I'm gonna have to make that list. So if anything, I'm gonna make a post. The best thing for me to do is make a post. So I'm gonna write out all these names in a post. I'll post it maybe later tonight or tomorrow, but we gotta get those out there. But let's keep going. Northside Benji. Northside Benji. I'd be a fool to not put him on this list. Problem is, we need to adjust. We need to do some adjusting around here. Let me get through this list, bro. I'll speed it up. Don't worry. I'll speed it up. So we got Northside Benji. We got Quasi. Quasi's another big one too. Quasi. We got Everything Ocean. We got Benita, or She Is Benita. We got Toby, Jazz Cartier, of course John River, Unsighted Poet. That's a unique one right there. But like I said, I gotta make different posts now. Exactly. She has some heavy flair. Man, this is what I'm talking about. We have so much. There's so much talent. Who did I miss? Tay Jir. No, you know what? This dude. We got Tay. We got to talk about Tay real quick, because this guy. This is Toronto. This is Toronto.
I got what you want.
I got what you like. I got what you need. Probably stay the night. Cause she like my steez. Adidas on the long sleeve, laying on my jeans. I got picture perfect qualities, baby, come follow me. What you say you like, I got what you need. Probably stay the night, cause she like my steez. Adidas on the long sleeve, laying on my jeans. I got picture perfect qualities, baby, come follow me. Grew up with hot dogs in my crab dinner and patties.
So that song is Goldie with Tay Jerry. Tay Jerry, however you say it. I just need to spotlight these artists. That's what I just need to do. So that was last on the list. So 25 different artists, and then Cardinal Official and Michini. I don't want nobody to say we ain't got no talent in Toronto or in Canada in general. Because when you come to this page, I'm going to let you know what's up. And there's also a lot of artists that are on the come up right now that are actually putting in work into their craft. They're brand new artists that are coming out, but they're putting in the work. One of them is Rayshawn J. Rayshawn J has actually been on the podcast. So he's an R&B singer with heavy influences from Chris Brown. You can kind of hear it in his songs, but we have so many artists that are gearing up, but it's almost like they're gearing up to not be known. Nigga, you cooking for real, bro? Jesus. Savannah Ray, that's another good one. That is definitely another good one, bro. Bro, I feel like we're just throwing out names. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I just feel like when it comes down to that list, and I'm gonna make sure that I put that list out later in a post. But when it comes to that list, hey, TW, I agree. Some of my friends are producers. I have some friends that are some rap producers, trap producers. I got some R&B producers, dancehall producers. And speaking of dancehall, by the way, speaking of dancehall, soca, reggae, all them thing, we have those artists there too. So with all the people that I listed, here, there is one group that is dominating Canada right now. Let me make sure that I hold on a second. Let me make sure that I get the names correct. Who did I send? I sent it to myself. All right, cool. All right, boom. So we got to spotlight the people that are completely dominating right now in Toronto, which are actually Jamaicans. So Jamaicans are dominating right now. I'm not even going to lie. All right, here we go. For anybody that's a Caribbean in here, for all the Caribbeans in here, let me just go ahead and switch the screen. This one's for all the Caribbeans in here. Stand up, let yourself be known, because you're getting you're heavily represented in Canada. So let's go. This is what's dominating right now. Hey, do what you gotta do, bro.
I mean, I said, but bitches only.
Now, when I was speaking about you need to be in a certain mindset to kind of take in these artists, these guys are the reason why I said that. So it's a cipher. So let's sit back and enjoy it. But this is what's hitting right now in Toronto.
If it's not a bad bitch, do not enter.
Can't forget though you're bad, yeah.
Naturally.
Mad. More time I just want.
Dance with the killing off of the like pumpy. Nobody send your file, come me don't see, girl. Fucking up your hoppers, me no come quick. Your pussy no inna the ring and me a punch.
Call me dick in a chick like I shoot up your belly. Not in a long chat, girl, my cocky do dead. Some bitch at your back inna the ear, stay steady. Says she want fuck you kill like I'm a phone in your head.
You want fuck me a fuck and dagger. Nobody go and stoosh me no care about manners. You love bad man, me a Tony Montana. You like that, me do it again, mother.
Some me say naturally, actually, me woulda live inna your belly and stab it real bad freak. So she come with bad habitat, man. I fuck you, make me see your balance.
But she love her for artist life. Non stop say oh the artist nice. Yeah, she love her for artist vice. Put your throat tight, just so make the artist try it. Miss Grippy get the artist right. She a bounce pan body, she a shine on pipe. She a move like says she wanna ride all night. Like says she wanna ride all night.
Alright, what you can you do it? Correct for my please. Girl, you want to eat me have the recipe. I know any girl get me energy, but bitch alone in the crib and all of them for we.
Girl forward coming, I'm a ramping shot. Soon as me reach a yard, bet the ramping stop. Me a fuck your hard, make your body clap, fling it back, bend over.
I'm telling you, they go for real.
Me a take it to a room ram. Me turn your back, me a make your ball look at. After we fuck, nobody run go tag. Zungo, zeng, zungo, zang.
Fling your bumper pa me round ya. Unch your back foot pa me shoulder. No do the laughing, you think me a joker. That is me like off it like.
Them a fly girl London, UK thing. Tell me say she love bad man. I bet you never know she have a wrong one. Me a girl around me down like madman. Oh yeah, dirty money make your girl skin out. Me can't tell, so she wet from the jaws ring out. Me love girl so cocky with a nasty mouth. So if she don't have that, me a cross the dog.
Trust me, Rhythm to Ross. Go on, no? Yeah, man. What you mean? We're going to chat about this. We're going to chat about it correctly. Jesus. Come on, listen. In Toronto, we have a big Jamaican influence here. We got a big Caribbean influence here. Y'all know with Caravana that happens in the summertime. It's just about time that we got our artists popping here. You couldn't hide these niggas. You couldn't hide them. There is no way you can hide them. And I'm glad someone did something for real. Look, we need to understand, I agree with the diversity, but every one of us has our own lane here. We don't have our own sound. We have our own lane, but we need to compete like we're trying to take over the genre. That's the direction we need to go in. We need to strategize better here. This is what I'm talking about, your work ethic. And this is also what I'm talking about when it comes down to marketing. Because now that we clearly found how we're going to market these dudes, we need to make sure that we put each and every one of these different individuals in position to start dominating these genres. That's the strategy now. I hope these labels can pick up on this. Because if you want Canada to be popping, this is what we got to do. You need to find your source. This is what I'm talking about. If you're going to lead with diversity, that's what it's going to be. That's all it's ever going to be. It's just going to be diverse. It's not good enough to... You got to lock in now. You got to narrow down your path so you can start finding and understanding this lane. And then you can start to branch out. Here's the thing about these guys, though, that whoever is dealing with these guys, they need to be very careful. You need to be very, very friggin' careful. Do not make this a group. Do not make this a group. But this is the mix-up. So with this right here, I'm not necessarily saying you're going to introduce a new concept. But now you have a roster in front of you that you can utilize for a whole bunch of different rhythms. If we're going to go into the Caribbean bag now, we got to understand this lane. So whoever's dealing with this, they got to know their research. This is what I was getting to. You see these 5 dudes, these 5 names here? It doesn't have to be the 5 of them all the time. You don't need to coast contra these niggas. You don't need to do that. Sometimes you can have 3 of them together, 2 of them together. Of course, they should all have their own solo thing going on. But the features that they can do with each other can go crazy. They can already flow on the beat, no problem. They got it down pat. That's easy for them. Now this is where you got to be unique so you can start to market them. You can market them together, but you don't need to put them in a group because history has shown there's always something that goes wrong in groups. So I pray they don't treat these guys like a group, but use them as a group. There's a difference between the two. This is the marketing shit that I'm freaking talking about, bro. I don't play around with this shit. God damn, I don't play around with this at all, man. All right. Let's get back on task. Let's get back on task. Exactly, TW. That's a good strategy right there. I'm pretty sure I spoke about that. Keep every single one of them out the sweatshop. No cap. It seems as if you don't have to be signed. He will make it, or he will take it regardless. It's valid, but that's when you need to start protecting yourself and your brand. So speaking to Tiff's point, remember the whole situation with John River and how Party Next Door is saying you got to bend the knee or some whatever bullshit. Those are the vultures. I think Tiny was talking about the vultures in the music industry that are going to take from you. Because you're going to get the email, you're going to get the phone call, or your manager's going to get contacted. They're going to want to reach out. And you got to be strong-willed enough to say no. It's almost like the Cat Williams joke about Diddy. Not the joke, but what he said about Diddy on Club Shay Shay. You got to tell him no. You got to tell the same thing with all these OVO dudes. You got to tell them no. But the OVO influence blinds people. People think OVO is up right now. No, they are not. They are not. Kendrick buried this dude, bruh. It's GG's. So, I want to make it clear. Now, what's my time looking like? All right, I still have some good time. Yup, it happened. All right, I got to figure out how to strip this. That's the reason why I hate Streamlabs. The recording button just turns off randomly. But I gotta figure out how to strip this from the live, so we gotta go through that motion. Now I remember my last point. So pretty much what I was saying was just how to ground yourself. So we spoke about how to ground yourself. Already spoke about that. My last points were the recent points that I made. So I have a marketing idea to kind of bring the underground above ground. And it's a simple concept, but it's going to be creative in a sense, but let me just go through it first. So, labels need to understand their artists, which need to also understand the people out there that are not signed to you, but they're still like, you have artists out there, right? So, I was thinking about, what if we put together like a rap civil war? Let me break it down real quick. So we of course already have individuals that have the spotlight on them. For example, any of the dudes that Friday was talking about on his stream, the one that I reacted to, where I was just like, low key I was gonna crash out. I ain't gonna lie, but on that reaction that I did to one of Friday's videos about what happened to Toronto artists, those are the spotlighted people. You can add TV Gucci or any of those dudes. You can add who else? There's some names out there that just, you can add Killy. I don't even listen to those dudes, so I don't remember their names, but like, say for example you take a Pressa, you take a Killy, you take a TV Gucci, and you take, I don't even know. Let's have those three for now. These are the people that have the spotlight on them. These are the people that are being pushed into y'all faces for you to still enjoy, or 3M French. Yeah, there we go, 3M French. But these are the people here that have the spotlight technically, that you're going to see on 6Buzz TV. It's just a Instagram account that just highlights those sounds from Toronto. But say you have these 4 artists here. What I want the industry to understand is that they're not really putting out quality work, quality music. So what we need to do in this situation is that we need to give them some competition. We need to give them some competition, and the best way to give them some competition is to pull some people from the underground. Give them some short contracts. You don't need to sign them for nothing substantial. You don't need to do that. But you need to shake up the city a little bit. So, from anybody from that list, take 4 of them. Give them the spotlight. Push them like how you would push your current artists. Push them like that. And then have that be the competition in itself. So what I'm basically saying is that the same way how you fund these dudes, you got to fund these new artists and put them in position so other people can see them, so the world, so Canada can be like, who's that and why are they good? And then we can start to have a little competition in between each other, where it's like the people at the top, they're like, wait, yo, who's this guy? Yo, I don't even like this guy. Because, for people that live in Toronto, we know how they think. We know how they think already. It's very closed-minded. So they're probably going to want to compete with the people that the label are funding to compete with them. I was explaining this in the car with one of my friends when we were driving to Toronto. What I'm putting together is basically the kind of thing that could get the current rappers out the spotlight. If you want to stay here if you want to stay here, if you want people to know that you're really that kind of rapper, you're really that kind of guy, the same way how we produce these four, what are you going to do next? What's your hit song that you've been hiding? Because you guys haven't been dropping. It's almost like you're weeding out the people that shouldn't be in position and replacing them with people that deserve that position. That's what that whole like little rap beef that is honestly is not a bad idea, because one, you're introducing other sounds to regular consumers in Canada, right? But while you're doing that at the same time, the people that already have the spotlight, it's almost like you're pushing them out the way, and they won't like that. So the realistic thing for them to do is respond, and you can create different, and it's up to them. That's how you, boy, boy, that's not a bad idea at all. Basically, it's like you're forcing the people that have the spotlight to really put in work so they can be substantial in the country, giving them that competition. Because if they don't want to look stupid, they better drop something good. And now you create that back and forth. But watch this. In the while that you're creating all this back and forth, you're going to get new listeners. People around the world that kind of tune in with Canada every now and then, they're going to be like, what's going on here? Who is this? Who is this person? Oh, they sound kind of nice. I mean, we already know about dude right here, but yo, who's this? The whole process, you're basically weeding out the people that don't deserve it no more. That change in music that happens ever so often, it's almost like you're forcing it now. Now, what I'm explaining is very surface level. There's a lot of marketing background that has to go into this. A lot of market research, a lot of kind of A&Ring that you got to do. There's a lot that you got to do, but like, can't. Anyone from Canada at Coachella? To be honest, not really. Oh shit, man, I don't listen to Showface News anymore. It's not necessarily a clear bias, if we're going to be super honest, Tiny. It's actually very neutral when you look at it at the raw sense. Because if you go back to the Friday video, everybody he was speaking about that had that spotlight, every single one of them are on the clock. They're on the clock. It's not looking good right now, because when I speak about work ethic and all that, it's almost like we don't have it because no one's looking out for it. They're looking in the wrong places. It's just giving the spotlight to the right people that deserve it. The people that's been in the spotlight, they had the time in the world. They had all the time in the world to make a difference, to make a change. It didn't work. We got to go in a different direction now. So if you want to stay here, you got to put in the work now so that you can keep your spot. But some of your peers might go. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this that I would want to put together. Deleter responded. Yeah, see what TW is saying is right. Streets will always win. Culture always wins. Support needs to be there. That's literally what I'm putting together. Because if you think about it in the background, you pretty much set the stage. The stage will bring the people, will bring the culture, will bring the audience. You just need to give them a stage, something for people to flock to. You know? That's what that whole idea is about. Because the thing about Canada is that we don't really flock to our own music, which is why we have all these artists that people really don't know about. So through this Civil War thing if I could personally put this together, if I was to work at a music industry, I would definitely put this together, because this would bring the people in. This is the shake up the city might need. Everyone, like, think about it. On the outside looking in, people are going to be like, oh, there's a whole rap civil war happening in Toronto right now. You know how marketing works. With the right headline, the right captions, the right description, people are going to flock. So, give them something to flock to. Because we don't really have anything to flock to. You know? So I understand what Tiny's saying, that it kind of gives a bias. It's not really a bias. It's just saying you got to start working again. Are you serious? Yo, Drake gotta go, bro. Gotta go. Honestly, this, I would look, if I can intern at least at one of these like record labels in Toronto. We already have there's a Universal in Toronto, Universal Music Group in Toronto. If I can intern there, bruh, man, I promise you I would represent. I would represent however I can. But that little idea that I just gave y'all, that I just threw out there for y'all, trust me, I understood what Tiny said with the whole bias thing. It's not bias. It's just telling everybody to get to work. That's it. But what would be the motivation? Because they love the spotlight, Tiff. Because they love the spotlight so much. If you want to keep your spotlight, you better put in the work so we can keep you in the position that you claimed. And these are only to the people that are already there in the spotlight. All that's really happening is that there's just a little bit of funding given to underground artists. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that's happening. You're giving the underground artists the opportunity to shake up the city however way they can. If they want to do a Kendrick thing and call out all these different people, you can do that. You can definitely do that. If you just want to drop a hit record, you can do that. However you want to do it, go ahead. Is basically what I'm saying. And the people that are already there, this is where you got to represent yourself and really let your fan base and let Canada know there's a reason why I'm here. Oh yeah, Jesse Reyes too. Jesse Reyes. Man, my friend actually works with Jesse Reyes. He's a photographer and videographer. And I knew him since college. He works with Jesse Reyes. Actually, we were in the same program. Funny enough, he dropped the program and just locked in on his craft, which is his camera. And because of what he was doing, it shot him all the way up into the stratosphere. He works for Billboard. Yet he dropped from the course that I was in. So, hey, shout out to my guy. You know, he has his own little network too called the Moment Network. Yo, shout out of the Saint. That's my guy. Holy. Mr. Of the Saint himself. I don't think there's really much that I need to that I really need to watch here. It's just that this Canada segment just lit a fire in me. It lit a fire in me. But listen, when he said that shit about Busta Rhymes, he lost me. He lost me talking about what's Look At Me Now was a terrible. I don't even remember. I don't even want to remember. But okay, it's 6:04 right now. The whole deleted thing, I can do that tomorrow. I can probably go through the reactions tomorrow. Let's talk about Sunday. Let's talk about Sunday, our little community live. So last Sunday,